Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a totally game-changing practical mindset shift. We're going to look at how you can completely reorganize your money using 4 Japanese habits that are literally centuries old. And honestly, the best part? You can start right now. No need to wait for a pay raise or some magical windfall. It's all about just flipping that financial chip in your brain. Let's get into it. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with spending with intention, then move on to Kakeibo, the conscious budget. After that, we'll explore Mottanai, dive into Otsuri, break down Danshari, and finally, install your brand new financial chip. All right, Section 1, Spending with Intention. Okay, let's really dive into this. The whole vibe of Japanese financial discipline isn't about, depriving yourself or stripping all the joy out of life. It's actually about deliberate intention. Think about modern budgeting for a second. We rely on these automated apps doing all the math in the background, mindless swiping, frictionless Apple Pay taps. It's just so emotionally detached, right? Japanese minimalism is the exact opposite. It relies on manual tracking and ruthlessly cutting out waste. It's tactile. Because here's the reality. When spending money feels invisible, well, the money just disappears invisibly. Which brings us to Section 2, Kakeibo, the conscious budget. So how do we actually take this abstract idea and turn it into real action? We use a paper-based tracking tool called Kakeibo, which translates to the household financial ledger. This was actually invented way back in 1904 by a super pioneering journalist named Motoko. And the core idea here is incredibly effective. Instead of letting some random app categorize your life, you literally sit down with a pen and write out your fixed income and expenses by hand at the start of every month. It creates this physical barrier that actively short-circuits compulsive spending, and it forces your brain to actually catch up with your wallet. And with this manual tracking, you're not just dumping all your expenses into one massive, overwhelming list. You're consciously dividing them into 4 specific buckets. First up is survival, so absolute basics like rent and groceries. Next is leisure, then culture, and finally, extras. By chopping up your money right at the beginning of the month, you are looking every single dollar in the eye and giving it a specific job before it ever leaves your pocket. Now, I want you to ask yourself these 4 absolutely crucial Kakeibo questions. Number 1, how much money do you actually have available? 2, how much would you like to save? 3, how much are you spending in reality? And 4, how can you improve? Look, these aren't just casual bullet points. They are rigorous, in-your-face prompts that force you to look at your financial reality in black and white. No digital filters, no hiding. Moving on to Section 3, Mottanai, the rejection of waste. Once you start tracking your money this closely, it naturally shifts your mindset to evaluate the true value of what you already own. Enter Mottanai. This is a profound philosophical concept in Japan that basically translates to what a waste or don't waste what has value. When it comes to your finances, a wasted dollar isn't just a piece of paper or a number on a screen. It literally represents the life, energy, and the time that you worked so hard to generate. So throwing it away on stuff you don't need, that's basically throwing your own energy straight into the trash. The real magic happens when we apply this philosophy toward daily routines. We're talking practical stuff here. It means challenging yourself to whip up a meal with those leftovers sitting in the back of your fridge instead of just instantly ordering takeout. It means choosing to repair a wonky chair before rushing out to buy a brand new one. And crucially, and we've all been there, it means auditing and finally canceling those ghost subscriptions you're still paying for month after month. Squeeze every last drop of value out of your resources. All right, Section 4, Otsuri, the envelope method. Now it's time to make that intention totally tangible. Think of this as the physical manifestation of the Kakeibo budget we just talked about. Once you define your monthly limits, you actually go to the bank, withdraw physical cash, and stuff it into designated labeled envelopes. You've got one for food, one for gas, one for outings. By handling actual physical money, you take strict control over your spending. You can literally feel the envelope getting thinner as the month goes on, which triggers a powerful psychological awareness that swiping a plastic card simply doesn't have. But wait, here is the catch. And this is exactly why this method succeeds where so many others fail. There is a strict, non-negotiable golden rule. If your outings envelope is empty halfway through the month, that activity is over, done, kaput. Until next month, you absolutely cannot borrow cash from the food or gas envelope to fund a movie night. Sure, it's a rigid boundary, but it is incredibly effective at stopping overspending dead in its tracks. Let's jump into Section 5, Danshari, the shopping fast. Now, even with envelopes and tight budgets, let's be real, we all face temptation. Danshari is basically your ultimate defense mechanism against those late-night, doom-scrolling impulse buys. To really master this, we need to understand its roots. Danshari is the absolute foundation of Japanese minimalism. It's a philosophy entirely focused on decluttering your life and actively detaching yourself from material goods. It's about breaking that endless emotional cycle of wanting to buy more things just to feel a temporary, fleeting spike of satisfaction. We can actually break down the word itself into 3 specific characters. First is Dan, which means to consciously reject unnecessary things from even entering your life in the first place. Second is sha, which means to dispose of the existing clutter you already own. And finally, ri, which means to completely detach yourself from the material attachment. Together, they build this almost impenetrable shield around your possessions and your spending habits. So, how do we apply Danshari to our wallets? Right this second. Enter the 48-hour rule. Before you swipe your card or click buy now on some sudden impulse, just stop. Leave that item sitting right there in your virtual shopping cart. Close the app and walk away. Give yourself exactly 48 hours of breathing room. No exceptions. And here is exactly why we do this. A massive 80% of the time, waiting those 48 hours proves that the purchase wasn't a real need at all. It was just a momentary craving. Now, if you still genuinely need it after 2 days and it fits perfectly into your Kakeibo budget, go for it. Buy it with intention. But honestly, 8 times out of 10, you're just going to save your money. It's a real game changer. Finally, Section 6, your new financial chip. So we've journeyed from the super mindful tracking of Kakeibo to the zero-waste mindset of Mottanai, the physical discipline of osatari envelopes, and the mental clarity of Danshari. Now, I know these analog methods might seem a little old school in a digital world, but they are exactly what we need to reconnect with the physical reality of our finances. You don't have to do all of this perfectly by tomorrow, but if you implement even just one of these habits this week, it will give you an immediate, exact X-ray of your financial health. It literally shines a bright spotlight on exactly where your money is going. Which brings me to a final thought for you to ponder. Implementing just one technique gives you that exact X-ray. So ask yourself honestly, which of these methods are you going to start today? Are you going to sit down and write out a Kakeibo budget tonight? Or maybe you'll walk away from that overflowing online cart for 48 hours. The choice is entirely yours, but the time to take physical action is right now. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, here's to your new journey of intentional spending.